Welcome to the Cozy Historian. If you find yourself drifting off before the story ends, that's perfectly fine. Just remember to like and subscribe before you fall asleep. It helps these quiet journeys through time softly continue. And before your eyes grow heavy, tell me in the comments, what time is it where you are, and what's the last thing you did before bed? Tonight, we're traveling back to the very beginning of rest itself. So fluff your pillow, pull up your blanket, and let's drift back to the world's very first bed. But tonight, dear listener, after we let that gentle thought settle like snow on a quiet roof, we turn to a different kind of comforting tradition, one not quite as ancient as the earliest beds, but woven just as softly into our memories. A tradition wrapped in peppermint, twinkling lights, and the warm excitement of childhood. Tonight we slip, ever so calmly, into the dreamy world of the 1950s mall Santa. So let your breathing slow, and imagine with me a soft winter dusk in mid-century America. The sky holds a faint lavender glow, the edges of the horizon touched by the last light of a December afternoon. Snow drifts down in tiny, lazy flakes, the kind that fall without wind, as if the world itself is trying to be gentle. And beyond the parking lot, glowing like a lighthouse in a sea of winter greys, sits a brand new structure that fascinated the American imagination, the shopping mall. It's the mid-1950s, and the post-war suburbs are swelling like warm blankets on the edge of growing cities. Families have cars now, more than ever before, and they glide toward these shining hubs of commerce and comfort, where everything one might need, groceries, dresses, tools, toys, and even a place to sit and rest, can be found under a single, enclosed roof. Malls become little artificial villages, protected from the cold, humming with life, and lit with the magical glow of fluorescent bulbs and holiday decorations. And in these softly bustling hallways, a figure begins to emerge, a gentle giant of the season, a man in a suit of red velvet, trimmed in white, whose arrival each year pulls children forward like a tide. Santa Claus, not on a rooftop, not in a parade, but in a chair beneath a canopy of mid-century tinsel and shimmering plastic ornaments. The mall Santa, as we know him, is being born. Picture it, wool-coated children shuffling forward in thick boots, clutching their mittens in one hand and their parents' coats in the other. The air inside the mall is warm after the cold outside, and their cheeks glow pink with excitement. There is the faint scent of pine from the artificial Christmas trees, mixed with the smell of soft pretzels, newly opened toy packages, and the crisp chemical sweetness of a fresh Polaroid photograph. Because in the mid-1950s, Polaroid cameras have just begun capturing the imagination of the country. For the first time, a family waiting in line can walk away with a printed photograph within minutes, a little rectangle of glossy memory, still warm from development, showing their child perched on Santa's lap beneath rows of sparkling ornaments. Those photographs will later be tucked into scrapbooks, slipped into envelopes, pinned onto corkboards, or shown proudly to grandparents by firesides. They become artifacts of a tradition still young, but already treasured. And yet, to fully understand the magic of the mall Santa, we have to step back a little further, back into the department store Santas of the early 20th century. Long before malls, stores like Macy's, Wanamaker's, and Marshall Field's created elaborate Santa experiences, complete with luxurious winter scenes and entire floors transformed into holiday kingdoms. These were the predecessors of the mall Santa, grand, theatrical productions meant to fill children with delight and shoppers with holiday cheer. But the mall changes everything. Instead of a single towering department store in the heart of a city, the shopping mall spreads out like a warm, brightly lit community center. And every mall wants its own Santa. As more malls open through the decade, the demand grows for more Santa chairs, more decorative sets, and more men with snowy beards willing to don the suit and embrace the spirit of the season. Imagine the scene in one of those earliest malls. The decorations are simple by today's standards, but charming in that mid-century way. Tinsel hangs in thick, shimmering strands. Ornaments are large and pastel-colored. Strings of soft bulbs trace gentle arcs across railings. The Santa chair might look like something from a children's picture book, high-backed, curving in elegant lines, often painted in minty greens or delicate golds, and near it stands a sign, hand-painted perhaps, promising candy canes for every child.
The candy cane, in the 1950s, is a hallmark of childhood holiday joy. They crunch gently as little teeth crack them into sugar shards. They melt slowly when held in a warm hand too long. And Santa's helpers, often teenage seasonal workers in crisp uniforms and little felt hats, hand them out with shy smiles, sometimes dropping one or two into a mother's purse with a wink. Listen now to the soundscape of that moment. The mall speakers play softly arranged Christmas music, light, orchestral, full of bells and strings. You can hear the rustle of shopping bags, the squeak of polished shoes on tiled floors, the distant hum of conversation rising and falling like waves. A child in line might be humming along to a song she's heard on the radio at home. A baby might be dozing in a stroller, lulled to sleep by the warmth and gentle movement of the place. And through all of that, the glow of the Santa set beckons. The children inch forward, sometimes practicing their request for a toy, sometimes gripping their parents' hands with nervous excitement. A few little ones are shy, the kind who peek from behind their parents' coats, unsure of this robed figure with the soft white beard and rosy cheeks. But Santa, in the 1950s, has a particular softness. He speaks slowly and gently, leaning in so they don't have to shout. He assures them that they've been good, even if they look unsure. He asks simple questions. Have you been kind? Do you help at home? What do you hope for this Christmas? His voice is calm and low, shaped by the era's style of storytelling, almost like a grandfather reading aloud from a favorite book. And above all, he listens. This simple moment of listening becomes one of the mall Santa's great strengths. In an age when families are busy, when fathers are commuting longer distances, and mothers are balancing new household technologies and expectations, the mall Santa offers something rare, a moment where a child's voice is heard and cherished without hurry. The photograph taken by the Polaroid camera seals that moment in time, a tiny, glowing testament to joy. As we settle into this memory, imagine the way the light reflects off the tinsel trees. In the 1950s, these trees are often made of aluminum, their branches shining like ribbons of winter starlight. They catch every flicker of illumination, scattering reflections in soft, dreamy patterns. The decorations on these trees are pastel, pinks, mint greens, gentle blues, with the occasional bright red ornament standing out like a berry on fresh snow. The 1950s mall Santa is both simple and magical. There is no digital screen, no sprawling amusement park-sized village. Instead, there is the hum of human warmth, the glow of mid-century design, and the sense that Christmas is a moment to slow down, breathe deeply, and feel the world soften around you. And so, as we curl deeper under our blankets, lulled by this dreamy holiday atmosphere, we begin to see why the mall Santa became such a beloved figure, why parents returned year after year to recreate the ritual, and why children carried those memories into adulthood like little lanterns glowing in the dark. In the next part of our story, we'll wander even deeper into this world, exploring the rise of suburban shopping culture, the craft of Santa set design, and the quiet, tender role Santa's played in shaping mid-century Christmas dreams. But for now, let your eyes grow heavy as the soft glow of those mid-century lights fades gently into your imagination. As we drift deeper into this gentle holiday landscape, let us step back out into the softly glowing mall corridor once more. The 1950s shopping mall at Christmas time is more than a place to purchase gifts. It is a carefully designed sanctuary of warmth and imagination, especially in the long, cold stretch of winter evenings. So breathe slowly with me, and picture the way the lights shimmer above polished floors, the way the decorations seem almost to hum with quiet joy, and the way families gather as though drawn by some invisible thread of shared nostalgia, even while they are creating it for the very first time. In the 1950s, the suburban mall is still new and exciting. Some families visit simply to stroll the corridors as though wandering through an indoor village. Children press their noses against toy store windows, marveling at wind-up tin robots and soft plush animals arranged in tiny holiday scenes. Parents whisper to one another about potential gifts, slipping packages discreetly into shopping bags while their little ones gaze elsewhere. And through it all, Santa's presence feels like the beating heart of the season, a beacon pulling them inward, promising a moment of wonder. Imagine the decorations in those early malls. The color palette is softer than what we see today. Mid-century Christmas decor delights in pastel hues, seafoam greens, blushing pinks, powder blues, accented with glittery golds, tinsel drapes like strands of moonlight, hanging ornaments gleam with subtle hand-painted patterns, and shop windows glow with warm, incandescent bulbs that make everything appear a little dreamy, a little softer around the edges, especially as evening falls. The Santa set itself is a small stage, but it feels monumental to a child. Perhaps it is framed by a pair of tall aluminum trees, their silvery branches catching every flicker of light. Behind Santa, a velvet curtain in deep teal or ruby red might swoop downward like a luxurious wave, and there, in the center, sits Santa's great chair, a wooden frame carved with gentle curves, painted in soft shades of cream or gold, with cushions thick enough to swallow a child in cozy comfort. Santa's helpers bustle about the set with quiet efficiency. In the 1950s, these helpers might be older teens or young adults from the local community, wearing felt caps, crisp collars, and matching vests in festive colors. They guide children to the front of the line, straighten their coats, help them perch safely on Santa's knee, and retrieve candy canes from shining bowls placed beside the throne. They are like gentle guardians of the holiday spirit, making sure each small moment goes smoothly. And then there's the line, the long, winding line that parents sometimes dread yet secretly cherish. It stretches like a ribbon through the mall corridor, full of wool coats, knitted scarves, and the soft murmur of winter conversation. Parents talk quietly about recipes they plan to prepare, about upcoming family gatherings, about the joys and small stresses of the season. Children entertain themselves with the decorations around them, pointing out ornaments shaped like stars or bells, listening to the gentle hum of distant carolers, or watching the Polaroid photographer set up the next batch of film. Because the Polaroid is a star of this era, there is something magical about seeing a picture appear right before your eyes, the faint, milky blur that darkens into clarity as silhouettes become recognizable faces. Parents huddle close to watch the transformation, feeling as though they're witnessing a small miracle. The photographer, often wearing a bow tie or tidy cardigan, clips the finished print to a drying rack for a moment before handing it over, warm and crisp, like a piece of holiday magic captured forever. Sometimes a child in line becomes nervous as the moment approaches. They cling to a parent's coat, unsure of this red-clad figure who seems both familiar and overwhelming. But the Santas of the 1950s are practiced in gentleness. They lean forward, lowering their voice to a soft whisper. They extend a gloved hand, slowly, invitingly. They ask a question not about gifts at first, but about something small and safe, a favorite animal perhaps, or whether the child has enjoyed any snow yet this winter. Gradually, the tension softens. A shy smile appears. The child steps forward. Santa knows that in the end, it is not the requests for toys that matter most. It is the reassurance, the sense that this season is safe, warm, and full of kindness. And so, after finally asking about a gift or two, Santa always ends with something uplifting, a reminder to be good to siblings, to help with small chores, to show kindness to friends. These words matter more than the child might realize. They linger like a soft melody that carries them through the snowy days leading up to Christmas. As we continue to wander through this gentle scene, imagine the mall drifting toward evening. The sky outside darkens to a deep winter blue, and through the tall glass windows at the mall's entrance, you can see fresh snow beginning to fall. Shoppers come in, shaking off their coats, stamping their boots lightly on the mats, and immediately warming up in the bright glow of the enclosed world. The mall becomes a haven, a cocoon of light and laughter in the long, cold season. Santa's line grows longest during this twilight hour. Families eager to capture a perfect photo before dinner gather together, adjusting scarves and smoothing children's hair. Some children hold small items they want Santa to see. A little wooden train, a doll with yarn hair, a picture they drew themselves. Others practice their request under their breath, repeating it like a soft mantra. A sled, a book, a puppy, a set of blocks, a doll house, a toy soldier. Tiny dreams voiced into the glowing air. Listen now to the sound of the mall at this hour. It is full, but never overwhelming. The jingling of bells from a charity volunteer echoes near the main entrance. The fountain in the central atrium gurgles in steady rhythm. A recording of carolers drifts through speakers overhead, sweet harmonious, never too loud. And always, beneath it all, the low hum of human warmth. Conversations blending into a soothing background chorus, footsteps moving like gentle brush strokes across the floor. Every mall Santa across the country is part of this vast, shared experience, each with his own chair, his own decorations, his own line of children waiting with rosy cheeks and woolen mittens. But the feelings are the same everywhere: anticipation, nostalgia, warmth, and a quiet kind of hope that seems to glow brighter in winter's darkest weeks. The Santa tradition also becomes a cherished ritual for families. Some visit the same mall every year, often around the same date, almost like a ceremony. The act of waiting in line together becomes part of the memory. Parents tell stories of their own childhood Christmases while they wait. Grandparents point out decorations that remind them of earlier times. Children wiggle with excitement, craning their necks to catch the first glimpse of Santa. And as the line inches forward, a kind of quiet magic settles over them all. Families lean close, sharing whispered stories of Christmases past, while wool-coated children wiggle with barely contained excitement. A grandmother smooths a stray curl from a child's forehead. A father lifts his little one for a better view. And everywhere the warm glow of garlands and store windows softens the edges of the world. In these small rituals, tying a boot, straightening a scarf, humming along to a familiar carol, the heart of mid-century Christmas reveals itself, gentle, hopeful, and full of tender anticipation. The mall Santa becomes a landmark in the landscape of childhood, a steady figure who returns year after year, no matter how much life changes, between one December and the next. Parents watch as each visit marks time in the sweetest way. A baby nestled sleepily in Santa's arms one year, a confident child proudly holding up a drawing the next. And outside, twilight deepens into blue, snow drifts lazily past the glass doors, and the mall glows like a warm little village against the winter night, buzzing softly with conversation, laughter, and the rustle of wrapped packages. And as the last children step forward and the evening hushes, imagine Santa offering one final kind smile, one last candy cane, before the lights dim to a peaceful winter glow. The photographer pockets the final warm Polaroid. The decorations settle like resting stars, and the mall sighs into quiet. And so, dear listener, as the candles fade and the night deepens, may your dreams be filled with the soft echoes of history. Until next time, sleep well.